So far, January has been a somewhat quiet month for Deadlock, but I don't think that's going to be the case for much longer. Hey everyone, this is Connor here at Dead Unlocked, and I'm really excited to get into all of this today. I want to talk about this idea that we could be getting 2 patches, and I want to dive into a lot of kind of the smaller things that I expect to be coming in these updates. Yes, we've covered a ton about new heroes and some of the other kind of more headline-grabbing things in these updates, but I want to spend some time in this video to talk about why I think it's going to be the small things that make the biggest impact in this next update. Let's get right into it. I want to lead off the video with something that I've been kind of speculating myself, but also something that I've been hearing in kind of the rumor mill and from some sources, and that is about the deployment of this update. How are we going to get this update into the game? Is all the content going to come at once? What is the kind of rollout going to look like? So what I've been kind of hearing from some sources is that we actually might want to expect 2 patches. And the details on when we're going to get these and the specific contents of each I think is still up in the air, but this really does make sense as a notion when you think about it, because of what all we're getting in this update, right? You pair something like the ARAM Street Brawl mode, right? This is just one component of the patches, and yet this is going to require so much balancing, so much hands-on work once it goes to live, that it's probably going to demand a certain amount of really focused attention right when it comes out. And borderline, the same thing can be said about the 6 heroes, right? I remember the last time when heroes were released, even one by one, devs were constantly updating the game with bug fixes and different things. And I imagine we're going to have a very similar outcome with these 6 new heroes, or however many new heroes we get in the update. So what I've heard again is that we might be getting multiple patches. This is still, again, a bit in that kind of speculation phase. This is not a for sure thing, I don't think, but there could very well be the case that we get something next week, maybe towards the tail end of the week, would just be my personal guess. And then as far as like a second patch were to go, that's where I personally have some question marks in my own head. Is that something they would want to immediately follow it up with in February? Or is that something that could get pushed back even into like the spring, maybe even getting around the Steam or the Steam Machine release at that point? So again, a lot of questions still about the update, but Yoshi has kind of reassured players that it should be expected in January. And I think if he is saying that like the patch or a patch is going to be coming in January, I would think that would mean something substantial, not just like a small minor patch. So to me, I would still expect a huge update in January, just maybe not everything that we have talked about so far on the channel in the past few weeks. So wanted to lay that out as an expectation for everyone, but let's get on to some other things that I also have heard are going to be coming in this update, and also some cool resources for players that want to keep up with it themselves. I also want to make the case here that it's actually going to be all of the little things in this update that really end up making it feel so impactful. I want to start off with a leak that I got from Minesweeper that I'm really excited to talk about, but I want to frame this for a second because I think I ran a poll on my channel, I think it was yesterday, and so many people are very excited for the new heroes, and understandably so. These are going to be amazing, and in a game like Deadlock, new heroes are always this cool new addition, and this is also something that we've kind of grown accustomed to with games like this, that the premiere updates have new heroes. But in Deadlock state, and really in its kind of developmental alpha state, I really think it's the thing that's most exciting for me is seeing it kind of really come into its own, take an artistic direction, and start to get some personality. And that's what the information like this next thing is really going to lend itself to. So Minesweeper has graciously given me a leak that essentially something that has been happening in the test server for a while is we're going to have hero portrait changes based on what your health level is. So at the top bar of your screen on the UI when you're playing Deadlock, your hero portrait is there and currently is static. And this is what I mean by more personality. In the coming update or at some time in the future, this has been worked on in the test server, obviously subject to change, all of that good stuff. Right now, there's like 2 or 3 hero portrait changes based on their damage level. So if a hero is in critical shape, they'll probably be grimacing in some major pain based on that character's personality and whatnot. And maybe there's one tick that's a little bit less severe. But again, this is one of those small changes. These are things that we should expect would come to Deadlock whenever it goes into an open beta or releases and all that. But this is just, again, that rare opportunity that we get to see all of this stuff added live to the game. And that's just something for me as a big fan of this game and someone who's very bullish on the potential of Deadlock. These are the kinds of things I'm really excited to see. But this isn't the only small thing coming in this update. There's a ton more to be excited about that isn't necessarily a headline grabber. And there have been a ton of these small changes that have kind of leaked here and there. We've covered a lot of them on the channel. Things ranging from the trooper redesigns to the walker redesigns, even things like new font, the REM loading into the game splash screen, right? All of these things, especially like we would combine them with the hero portrait leak we just talked about, all of these are really going to lend themselves to Deadlock feeling so much more like it's taking a kind of directional stance as a game, And I think this is going to be, again, kind of the silent killer of this update that makes it feel really, really powerful. And it's just all these small changes. These are things that I really feel like right now you don't notice in Deadlock and people don't talk about very much because the gameplay is honestly so good. I have so much fun a lot of times playing my games when matchmaking works and other things go correctly, right? That I don't realize, like, oh, this chunk of the map is just totally gray and there's really nothing there, or this room feels really empty, or why does nothing happen at the end of the game, right? Like, these things feel so much more permissible because of Valve's development state with Deadlock and because of the really robust gameplay and how good it feels as a game. So I'm just saying, whether we get just a bunch of small things in this first update or not, or when we get the new heroes or ARAM or any of that, I would be excited personally just for all the things that haven't necessarily grabbed a ton of headlines and aren't going to be your biggest selling point update things. I think those are going to kind of conglomerate to become, again, this really incredible step forward for Deadlock. Before I close out the video, I do really want to signal boost this. Minesweeper has actually made a Discord bot called Experimental Tracker that gives you updates whenever the experimental or test branch of Deadlock updates to a new version. So for those that don't really know what that means, so essentially Deadlock has an experimental or test server right now with a small quantity of players on it where they do these really experimental changes where they take wide swings, they added new heroes, they redo the heroes, all the stuff that we cover a lot on this channel is happening in that branch. So there's a Discord bot now that will tell you every time that branch is updated, and when that's updated more frequently, that usually means we're getting closer to a patch, or usually it's just a signal that something is going to be coming to Deadlock soon. It's not always a one-to-one indicator, but nonetheless a very cool tool. Just another way to stay up to date with all the things going on in Deadlock and be kind of attached as a community to the game's development. Otherwise, let me know exactly what you all are thinking about this update in the comments. There's a lot we still don't know, but we can still be super excited about this update. Devs have been cooking for a long time. We know there's some really neat stuff coming. It's just kind of a question now of when do we get it and how do we get it. Also, definitely go watch some Deadlock Night Shift today. We've got Deadlock Esports, it's back. This has been such a great, consistent product for a long time. I'm super stoked to see how Deadlock Esports evolves this year, and this is the best way to support it right now, in my opinion, along with all the other events going on. Also, I got a fresh haircut, fresh cut. Let me know what you all think about that in the comments. Not a huge change, but a little bit of one, you know, a little bit of one. But anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, from our house to yours, we'll see you all next time here at Dead Unlocked.